here then at the TT Grandstand. Chris Boyd with you in the tower along with Greg Haynes. On the ground we have Beth Espy, Mike Booth and Chris Kinley. We were talking just before we left for a short break that everything was now in place for a 4 o'clock start. So we were about 14 minutes away from the start of the Carole Nash Sportbike TT Race 1. Mark Paris has been down having photo shots taken on the start line. As you said, he is the 6th rider to achieve 100 TT starts. Joey Dunlop was the first of them. Then the others are David Marsden-Migdal, Ian Locker, Jim Hodson and John McGuinness. It's not a bad list to become part of, is it?
No, it's not. It's actually incredible, isn't it, that we have only had that few number of riders in all these years. It's now been the 105th year of the Isle of Man TT to reach that milestone of 100. We were fearful, weren't we, earlier on, as Chris Kinley said. Imagine this race got called off and he left on 99. He'd have to come back again for another one in 2027. But we do expect this to be the last TT for Mark Parrott. As he said earlier on, it's the Sportbike TT. They'll finally get going, and we'll finally get them the debut of Rhys Stevenson as well. So watch out for him. He'll be going off number 31. He's on bike number 56, just 20 years of age, the rocket racing rider from Skegness. He's learned the course with the beginners laps with Richard Milky Quayle earlier on last week. So finally, Rhys Stevenson will get going here this afternoon. I'm really excited to see that.
And excited as well to see what Michael Dunlop might do on the pattern. The fastest lap in practice was an unofficial lap record. 18 minutes, 19.314, 123.557. The official lap record is 123.056 under the Super Twin name, but we'll carry that over into the Sport Bike. So he was inside that lap record in qualifying. Let's get you down to the ground then. Just over, 12 minutes or so to go. Down to Chris Kinley.
Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you very much, Chris, as well. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Because this lap record that could stand, the sport bike. So will this be a new lap record for the sport bikes in the class? That's one thing we need to make a note of, don't we? The fastest lap in that race, because I'm not sure there'll be an award for it. We're going to hear from AJ Ventnor in a minute, but we will talk about this in a minute. He's going to be starting at number 1 for the Melbury Laycock Racing Team, the Pattern S1R650, but there's a special paint job. But first of all, let's hear from AJ Ventnor, who's with Beth.
Yeah, just talking to AJ here. Been a bit of a wait around. How you feeling?
Yeah, all good. I'm pretty relaxed, to be honest. I fell asleep in the morning now, so I was just putting a bit of water on my head to try and wake up a little bit.
Nothing like having a little bit of a nana nap to get you going. What is the plan for this race?
Yeah, I think this is these twins are always something different. I think that's the thing. It's about getting there and finishing and working your way through. So it's no pit stop. So it's just a 2-lap dash, and do what you can, and whatever you get, you take.
I was talking to somebody else who says on the start line their mind is completely blank. What's going through yours?
I'm pretty chilled, to be honest with you. I enjoy riding these small bikes. It's sort of after riding the big stuff and they sort of rip you around a little bit, where this is a lot more calmer and a lot more easier. So you enjoy it, So I'm very excited for this ride.
Clearly the nap's done you good.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to go.
Alan, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you not have a nana nap, Beth, in the quiet break?
Oh,
now?
I love a nana nap, I tell you.
Don't we all? Yeah, so we're going to mention about the number 1 machine that's going to be going out. Mike Brown's riding the pattern for the Melbury Laycock Racing Team. And I was having a little look back in there. I love reading regulations and stuff. We mentioned the thing. In the Super Twins, Mike Booth, I know Mike Booth's with you there, all the Super Twins, could you guess what all the minimum weight for all the machine is, Boothie? All exactly the same.
I think from memory about 150 kilograms.
Perfect.
I know.
10 out of 10.
I know the. Don't ask me what the minimum weight limit for the sport bikes are, because that's everything from 165 to 148 kilograms, something like that. But yeah, for the Super Twins, it's 150 kilos. Doesn't matter what manufacturer it is. 150 kg.
At any time during the event, the weight of the whole machine, including the fuel tank, must not be less than the minimum weight. And they can put ballast on as well. If they're below the minimum weight, it must be securely mounted. A bit of lead. I'm probably not allowed to use lead now. Something similar that's quite heavy. But it is Mike Brown, the first man. I'm going to have a little, just a quick chat to, if I can, while he just speaks to Eddie. Just get around here. And sorry, Eddie, last minute conversation. Is that all right? Just jump in. Mike, I remember 40 years ago why this machine is in this colours. For those who don't know, could you tell us a story, or do you want me to relay it? Or Eddie, how about Eddie Laycock? You can remember this anyway. You always speak well.
Yeah, Mike wasn't even born then.
I remember that day very, very well. And just explain to the listeners what it's about from your words, please.
Well, basically it was as you know, I ended up on Miller bikes after Jean's passing, so I knew that the time was coming up. It was 40 years, so we decided we were going to run a black bike on Tuesday and this bike on Friday to celebrate Jean. So we just came up with this, and obviously we're down now to one race, so we just had to run the colours. So it's really just a good nod to Jean and the old classic Miller racing colours, and so far everyone seems to like it.
It's beautiful. Now, just a bit of background to the story, Jim McDonald was sadly killed in a crash at Ballaugh Bridge on the approach to Ballaugh Bridge 40 years ago. I remember where I was. Jeff Cannell was doing the commentary on that day. I remember that very, very clearly. And for those of you of a certain vintage like me, I was 16, I was then, Mike Brown. What are you laughing at me for?
I'm not good at maths, but you're definitely older than me.
Thank you, Michael. Anyway, it looks fantastic, and like Eddie says, Eddie Laycock was with us here, who we just heard from. It's a great nod, isn't it, to Jean McDonald?
Yeah, no, it is. It's a nice touch, and I'm proud to ride the bike for the lads and the colours, so no, it's good.
So he's had a helmet after him last year, and now he's got a motorbike in the colours that he used to race. He's doing all right, isn't he?
Now we just have to try and cross our fingers and hopefully get her in.
Talk us through the bike, then. How's it been practice week?
We've only done 4 laps on it, to be honest, and it's been good. We minded in practice a bit for the 2 races, and no, it's been going good. We have a small change for the race, and hopefully it's in the right direction now.
Because you know what it takes to get up into the podium on this. You were taken away from me before, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had a bit of history with this bike, and we'll try and put the wrongs to right now, and but it's not going to be easy. There's a few lads stuck in this race again, so but still, it'd be nice to put a few new faces onto the podium. We're sick of looking at the same fellas.
We are. Mike, thanks for your time, and Eddie, great to talk to you as well. Thanks very much, guys. So look at there, number 1, Melbury Racing on the side, but it looks like the old Miller Racing colours. You'll know what it is if you're a certain vintage. Back to Beth.
I'm here with Rhys Hardesty. How do you cope with this little bit of hanging around then, Rhys?
Well, same as everyone else, really, isn't it? You twiddle your fingers and pick your bum and all that sort of thing. But no, just it's the same for everyone. You can't help the weather and incidents out on circuit, or they need to be dealt with, and and unrelated racing incidents. I mean, that's a new one, isn't it? Off-island incident, and then and then we're all back up here again. So, but no, all in all, I mean, the weather's sort of come to us a little bit today, so we've just got to play the waiting game and patience and all that stuff, and which I'm not very good at. But no, yeah, just trying to stay calm and to be honest, just trying to remember that it's a long day and we've got lots of laps to do today, and just try and get back this time, because the 600 expired on the mountain on the last lap, so that was a bit disappointing, and it's that was the last run for this bike, or for that bike, with the rule changes, etc. So it's a bit disappointed there not to get the finish that we were trying for, and I think we were sat in sort of like around P20, and that was sort of my aim, was to try and get a 20th with it before she's retired. And I guess I upset it because I sort of thought, well, I'll sell that now and I'll buy a narrowboat, because I got this mad idea about coming to the Isle of Man on a narrowboat, and nobody's with me on it. They all think I'll sink and that'll be the end of it. But I reckon it could be done on a clear day. So, but that's completely unbike related there, isn't it? But it's just, it's just one of them, and you just try and go around and see the checkered flag, and we were just trying to nurse it a little bit on the last lap, because she was sick in the first race, and she just said no more. And it doesn't matter how much money you throw at something and put new in at the end of the day and refresh it to come. It's the Isle of Man, and if that's not what's meant, that's not what's meant. So yeah, very disappointing on that front, but all in all, we can't really grumble. I mean, there's a few lads taking a tumble, and hope that everybody's all right there. And when we can't grumble, we're getting to have another go round on Alan Chamley's Super Twin there. So, and my boss's bike, Reps, supplied bike again, that hasn't missed a beat. So there's only one person to point the finger at for my bike packing in, and I look at him every morning in the mirror brushing my teeth. That's all you do, really, innit?
But it's interesting though, isn't it? People sitting on the hedges, sometimes we can all forget what goes into getting you even here.
Oh, it's massive. It's massive for everybody. Whether you're riding someone else's bike or you're trying to build your own, and it is massive. And the hours is just ridiculous, and the money and lack of it, and not enough. And if you give a racer £1 million, he's going to spend £1 million and one, isn't he? So it's just it's just one of those things. We'll have a little regroup and have a think about what to do. At the minute, we I can't afford. You know, we do our best, but we can't afford to really, you know, go much bigger or better than what we got, and we'll keep trying. If something comes up, that's all we can do.
Rhys Harvesty, I hope you have a great one out there. Jock of Hour.
Diolch yn fawr I ti hefyd, although.
I think that's the maddest idea I've ever had, narrowboat. I'd love to go on a narrowboat, but wouldn't take one from a port and bring it over here. Davo Johnson, of course, is a late addition to your programme on the number 5 machine. Of course, riding for the Ian Locker Racing Team, the Patton S1R 650, qualified in 18th position. Michael Dunlop's here, and of course, that record that he did in qualifying, 123.557. Mike Brown, as we just heard from their second quickest, 121.3. And then there's Peter Hickman third on the Yamaha. So 2 Pattons in the Yamaha, the top 3. You just hear that machine there in the background. It's so noisy down here. That's the pattern of Davo Johnson getting fired up. And how good does that Malenko by Paget's pattern of Jamie Cowden? It's good to see Jamie in those colours, isn't it? Just Paul Jordan. Just going to try and grab a quick word with Paul if I can before the start. We're about 4 minutes away from the start of this. Paul is on the machine there now on the Jackson bike. He knows what it takes to get this machine onto that podium. Hopefully he will. In fact, I tell you what we'll do. Let's have a quick chat. He's 7th quickest in qualifying. Michael Sweeney's on 17. He's with Beth.
Still looking pretty chilled out here, Michael. How you feeling?
Yeah, feeling good. Just a little bit worried about the wind. It's got very windy there now, so probably struggle with gearing on the bike. So the bikes are so small, so we just have to go with what we have now.
I tell you what, there's enough going through your head already without that, I guess.
I know, yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's just one of them things, last minute thing. That wind's just after picking up in the last 20 minutes. So yeah, we just have to deal with what we have.
Hope it goes well for you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Sorry, just Dean. Sorry, you get to talk to me here. Well, I'll tell you later. Dean Harrison just talking to me about the senior TT, which he is looking for. Get your lead. Can't let no. Dean, I'll tell you what I'll do. Come here, I'll tell you. It's okay now, it's all sorted. And there's Mikey Evans going to be going off at number 3. Now Michael, 5th quickest in qualifying on the Yamaha, and a very similar machine that Jeremy McWilliams took to the win at the Northwest 200 not a month ago. So Mike Brown on the Patton, Paul Jordan on the Aprilia, and then a Yamaha at number 3. They look great in the Flipbeat Motorcycles colours. And then we're back to the Patton, and it's a great colour scheme there of the Malenko by Paget's bike. And then Paul Jordan there as well. I think he said, yeah, this is a 2-lap race. I think that's what he was saying to us. Anyway, yeah, it's just Dean Harrison would just ask me why we had the delay. So I was trying to tell all the information. I think one dark horse we're going to look for here could be Barry Furber. Could be Barry Furber. He could be in there. And Barry qualified down in 40th position on the number 7 bike. When I gave you the board a little bit earlier on, it was quite a lengthy board, but now damp patches at the 11th milestone, Kerramore, Ramsey Hairpin, the Waterworks, and the 27th milestone. So there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places on there where it says damp patches. The machines will be brought forward very, very shortly. The tyre warmers are coming off the Melbury Racing bike. The Patton machine looks really, really fantastic in those colours, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of pictures plastered all over social media in memory, of course, 40 years ago that we lost G. McDonnell in that sad crash over there at the Laugh. Let's get up to the boys in the tower, get ready to go with the Carole Nash Sportbike TT race number 1. 2 laps, no pit stop. It's a dash for the cash. Over to you, boys.
It is indeed, Chris Kinley. 75.46 miles. The 2025 Super Twin Race 1 podium was Michael Dunlop, Rob Hodson and Paul Jordan. The lap record held over from the Super Twins into the sport bike is Michael Dunlop from last year, 123.056 miles per hour. We have 6 manufacturers represented, 13 nationalities. The winner will take away the lightweight TT trophy, and the fastest lap will claim the Joe Craig Trophy. The starter is Dan Neal, Associate Director of Carole Nash. And as we look down onto Glen Crutchley Road, Mike Brown has been called to the line. So let's pan you over with about 20 seconds to go to Greg Haynes.
Chris Boyd, thank you very much indeed. So the Joe Craig Trophy, of course, the legendary team boss of Norton back in the days of the Continental Circus and when the World Championship started in the late 1940s through the 50s. As we get ready then for some history to be made here, the first ever Carole Nash Sportbike TT at the Isle of Man TT of 2026. We are counting down. The hand is on the shoulder. Mark Pendlebury gives the nod to Mike Brown, who is away with the glorious Miller Racing livery in cream and burgundy down the Glen Crutchley Road for the first time, and the first ever sport bike event is go here. Paul Jordan is next. So we've had a Patton and we have had an Aprilia. A real mixture of manufacturers here. There goes the first Yamaha R7 of Michael Evans. Next will be Jamie Coward, the iconic Milenko by Paget's Motorcycles livery. It's his debut with that team here at the TT. They've done the Northwest together, but this is his TT debut. David Johnson, the Australian, is flying past our window now. He was a late entry in this category as recently as Tuesday of practice week, Tuesday of last week. Michael Dunlop, the favourite for this class, is away now. There he goes on his pattern, the S1R 650. Next will be Baz Ferber. Watch out for him, as Chris Kinley has said. He could be a bit of a dark horse in this one on the DC Motorcycles Newtown Yamaha R7. Now a little bit of a wait where Davey Todd would have been, and we will then hear Rob Hodgson get away. Had a stone through the radiator earlier on in the proceedings on his super stock machine last week. Hopefully no such problems with this one. There goes the number 9. Peter Hickman will be next on a Yamaha R7. And the yellow flash of Hickey goes shooting past our window, and he now is away down Bray Hill. Stefano Bonetti. Remember, as Chris Boyd has said, 13 different nationalities represented in this race. He's away now from Castro in Italy on the Ducati Corsi Aprilia RS 660. They're glorious sounding, those Aprilias, and glorious looking as well, coming out of the Noale factory, of course, back in Italy. That was Joe Yeasley moving away, the rider from Laxey here on the Isle of Man on another one of those Yamaha R7s. Next will be Dominic Herbertson. There he goes on the Triumph Daytona 660. And now get ready for the debut of a Chinese manufacturer, the CF Moto of Sean Anderson from Banbridge in Northern Ireland. And there it goes. We're seeing a real influx of Chinese motorcycles into the world of motorcycle racing now. Times are changing. Here comes one of the PHR performance bikes. Pierre-Yves Bion from Antilles in France. That's another Triumph, and there's another pattern coming now, another Italian rider as well. Andrea Maggiola on the Mako Road Racing team by EA Machine. That is the pattern. Michael Sweeney will be next. Remember, as is always the case in the solo categories, the top 20 riders are seeded, 21 downwards line up according to their qualifying times. The Sweeney passes our window here on the Glen Crutchery Road. You can tell even from the gaps in between, it just takes that little bit longer to get up to speed, doesn't it, with the sport bikes. Indy de Koppel is away now. He's from Prague in the Czech Republic. This is the second of 3 Aprilia starting in succession, and there goes the third. That was Joey Thompson from York on the TH Racing machine. This next one is a collaboration. TH Racing, Tag 43 and Skynet Logistics. AJ Venter there, we heard from him before the start on the Kawasaki ER6. So those were our seeded riders. Next, it's all about qualifying times. Jonathan Perry, the first of the non-seeded riders in qualifying on the Aprilia, on the Obsession Engineering machine. He's just moved away. The Aprilia is next. Rhys Hardesty, number 22 from Abergavenny in Wales, AC Racing. Lewis Arrowsmith will be next up. Another one of these Aprilias. They're really being highly represented, aren't they, here in the class, as the top 3 riders in the meantime have just gone through the right-hander at Ballacrane, where you peel off the A1 and on to the A3, rapidly up through Ballig Bridge, Laurel Bank, and heading towards Glen Helen at the first timing point. That was Toby Shan in the meantime, number 39, passing our window. Kevin Canny was a late withdrawal from this class. He would have gone next. He's now out of action in this category. So we're just waiting for a few extra seconds for Francesco Caringa on the Delmo Racing Team Yamaha R7. There it goes. Ryan Garside sounded like he was in very good spirits when he was down in the paddock with Kinners and with Beth. The distinctive note there of the Triumph Daytona 660 roars into life. Tom Whedon will be next. This is another Aprilia, the KDC Coatings G Baker Roofing Club 77 machine. Michael Russell is next, and just 2 away from us now is Rhys Stevenson to make his TT debut at the age of 20. What a special moment for him. Russell gets away. Paul Williams is next with the Lee Williams Motorsport Kawasaki Z650. Bright yellow, easy to spot that one as it comes shooting down Bray Hill, as it does so now. And now get ready then, an amazing moment in the life of the whole Rocket Racing crew. Rhys Stevenson, British Talent Cup star, is away on his TT debut here for Rocket Racing. as he passes the window. In the meantime, Boydie, the top few are through Glen Helen for the first time.
We see Peter Hickman just peeling off at Ballacrane. He heads up towards Ballaspur. The front two are through Glen Helen. It's Michael Dunlop, obviously, that we are waiting for. The first 3 on the road are through. The first 4 on the road are now through. Jamie Coward makes it, and we see him start to make the climb up towards Sarah's Cottage, trying to get every single ounce of power as Dunlop arrives, and Dunlop leads on the pattern. 3.6 seconds he leads Mike Brown by at Glen Helen on that one. We await the arrival of Peter Hickman, who was third fastest, I think, in qualifying. So we'll just wait for him to get there. Be another 30 seconds or so before Peter Hickman is due there. Dunlop, Brown, Jordan, Coward and Johnson are all through Glen Helen. We'll get an idea of the leaderboard just as soon as Peter Hickman comes through. We'll then have to wait for as far down as 17, 18, 19 and 20, because in the top 10 on the qualifying times we had Mick Sweeney, Joey Thompson and Alan Ventnor, who are all coming from the bottom end of those seeded riders. We wait then. It shouldn't be too long now before we see Hickman arrive on the timesheets. There he is. It's only 4th place, so he's off the podium at the moment. At Glen Helen on lap 1, Dunlop leads Mike Brown by 3.6 seconds. Then 1.3 seconds from Brown down to Jordan. 3 seconds between Paul Jordan and Peter Hickman. Then Jamie Coward in 5th. 2.7 seconds down on Hickman. Barry Ferber in 6th. We always know Barry goes well in this class, but a top 6 would be a sensational result for him. He's only 1/4 second down on Joe Yeardsley, who now slots into 5th. So these leaderboard positions are changing, and as I say, we're going to have to wait for the rest of the seeded riders to get through.
And now we're waiting for a little bit of history as Yamanaka passes the window. Mark Parrott now, number 51. He's lining up for his 100th Isle of Man TT start. He's got the tap on the shoulder. He is away. Mark Parrott, number 51. His 100th TT begins right now.
The 6th rider to claim that 100 TT starts tally. Superb for Mark Parrott. We spoke to him before the start. Waiting then just for these later starters to come in. But Dunlop's in sensational form from the gun here, isn't he?
Yeah, we knew he would be, didn't we, on that pattern. He's showing incredible form on the small bikes, particularly at the minute. And yeah, this is a class that he's shown real class in. So yeah, he's set off as he means to go on. He's leading the race from the front, and he'll try and keep that pace up for 2 laps. But you know, we have to remember it might only be a short race round here, but these bikes are really trick little things. You know, this class was started quite a few years ago now to be a bit of a sort of almost an entry-level class for a lot of the teams, and the bikes were a little bit easier to build. But now these things, they're like little super bikes, so there's a lot on them. Things can happen, so we'll be keeping our fingers crossed that that pattern holds itself together, and he makes it round a couple of laps, and will we see another win? It's likely, isn't it?
It is. He's well out through Bishop's Court now and on towards Alpine for Michael Dunlop, who leads this race by 3.6 seconds from Mike Brown, with Paul Jordan 3rd, Peter Hickman 4th, Joe Yeardsley in a fantastic 5th place, Jamie Coward in 6th, Michael Sweeney in 7th from a start position of 17. Barry Ferber drops down to 8th therefore, but that's still great for him. Dominic Herberton shows 9th, Michael de Koppel in 10th. Top 10 for de Koppel. That's a cracking ride so far as well, very early in this race. 11th to 15th are Stefano Bonetti, Andrea Miola, Rob Hodson, Alan Ventnor and Davo Johnson. As the top men are through Balaf, Dunlop is there. Dunlop extends his advantage to nearly 8 seconds already over Mike Brown. Dunlop leads Brown by 7.97 seconds. Paul Jordan then shows in 3rd, and we await Peter Hickman to arrive.
No, Dean Harrison in this class. It's mainly just because Honda. Hey, obviously Dean's contracted to Honda, and Honda don't build a motorcycle that would necessarily be competitive in this class. What that does mean is it opens the podium up to a few more names, and it's great to see Joe Yeardsley up there, Jamie Coward, Mick Sweeney, and Baz Ferber, as you mentioned before, who always goes really well on the smaller bikes. But yeah, it's a great opportunity for a few guys that are going to struggle to get on that podium in the big race later on to make a name for themselves at the TT.
How quick is this 2026 pattern? Well, Dunlop has just smashed nearly 3 seconds off the all-time sector record for the Super Twin class between Glen Helen and Balaf. He held it from last year at 3 minutes 17.5. He's just gone between Glen Helen and Balaf in 3 minutes 14.6.
it's unbelievable what that man can do on on that pattern, isn't it? And we said before, will we see a lap record on lap 2? It looks as though he might not need to push it super hard, but like lap 2 without a pit stop, that will be an opportunity to do a really fast lap.
There's a problem for the number 10. Peter Hickman is looking down. He's got some sort of issue. He's gone over one of the rises. He was looking down briefly.
To get the grunt he wanted. He was twisting the wrist on the left-hand side, wasn't he?
I'm just trying to listen in to see if we can hear any obvious problem. You can hear the audio coming through there of Peter Hickman's Yamaha R7. He was certainly looking down, but he's pushing on now. Glad to say that all 45 riders got away cleanly. I was looking out of the window where the start arch has now been removed, ready for them to come flying through onto their second and final lap next time round. We'll have to keep an eye on Lewis Arrowsmith in this one as well, of course, because he goes well on these bikes, was the winner of the Super Twin Manx Grand Prix in 2025. But we'll keep an eye on Hickman to see what was going on, and from what we can see so far, he seems to have got that problem sorted out, whatever that was.
Yeah, very odd. We'll, as we say, we'll keep an eye on the sector time in particular coming into Ramsey. That will take effect on. He's through Sulby Bridge, we see now, and all looks relatively well as he makes his way through the Ginger, as we see Michael Dunlop come through the K-tree flying.
Speed trap sector times have just popped up, and Peter Hickman 154 miles an hour in the speed trap, just dropped down to 6th fastest in the speed trap down Sulby Straight, which isn't a million miles away. I mean, Michael Dunlop on that pattern is a bit quicker at 163.9 miles an hour, but that's to be expected. So if there was a problem with Peter Hickman's bike, it doesn't look like it's too much of an issue, and he's got his head down again, and he's well, I just got some little replay of him up here in the commentary box, and it looked like there might have been a little puff of smoke come out the back of that bike. I don't know if it was
big look down by Hickman.
Was it changing something with his left hand as well there, Boothie? What might that be? We're just seeing a replay. Peter Hickman's taken his left hand off his clutch, obviously on that side, which he won't be using now, but he was certainly adjusting something with his left hand there.
Difficult to say. Some of these bikes have remote span adjusters on the front brakes. If he was having an issue with his front brake, he could have been adjusting that, but really difficult to tell. I'm not sure what he was playing with on the Triumph there, but he's doesn't look like he's slowed him down, does it?
Dunlop then is on his way up to the hairpin already on the opening lap. One thing we will say about Michael and the pattern, all the way through qualifying week, we have not seen a 2-lap run. He's done single 1-lap runs only on this pattern.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a lot to do with the fact that he'll have been concentrating on the big bike in the big bike sessions. The super bike and super stock in the big bike sessions, and sometimes there's a bit of an overlap in them sessions. So if he's not got a lot of time in the smaller bike sessions, he might have been concentrating
looking down
on
again here as he comes into Parliament Square, but he carries on. He's taken the right-hander, but he had another double look there. He's doing something else again, trying to make another change. This is definitely going to affect his time. We'll wait to get him at the hairpin. But in terms of Michael Dunlop, he smashed another sector record. Balaf to Ramsey. He is now inside what was Super Twin lap record pace from a standing start. Dunlop inside lap record pace. Of course, he set an unofficial lap record in qualifying.
I'll have to have a look at Hickman up to the Ramsey hairpin. I mean, if it is brake related and he's making some sort of adjustment, as you say, Mike, with that left hand, I mean, he's very, very tentatively almost coasting his way through the hairpin now.
Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with that bike, isn't there? And you'd have to say if there's a real problem with it, he'll be pulling off. He won't want to ride that bike round if he's not 100% confident in it. So it remains to be seen exactly what that issue is. But it looks like he's not 100% happy with the bike just at the minute.
Ramsey lap 1 then off the Carole Nash Sportbike TT race 1. Michael Dunlop leads by 11.3 seconds from Mike Brown. Pattern versus pattern. Then Paul Jordan sits in third, only 2.2 seconds down on Brown. So there's a good battle going on for that second place. Hickman then, despite his issues, continues to lie in 4th place, 9.8 seconds down on Jordan. Jamie Coward is 5th, only 1.2 seconds down on Hickman. And with Hickman constantly looking down at the bike, Coward has a chance definitely to climb up to 4th there. Joe Yeardsley is going really, really well. He's only 1.9 seconds down on Coward in 6th at Ramsey on this opening lap. We're waiting on Michael de Koppel to arrive, who holds on to 7th place at Balaf. In 8th is Dominic Herbertson. In 9th is Barry Ferber. In 10th, we're waiting on Michael Sweeney to arrive. Then we've got Stefano Benetti and Rob Hodson. But this is all about Dunlop and what pace he can do. He is absolutely flying. As we see, that is Michael Sweeney overhauling Andrea Maiola on the road into Schoolhouse. So Sweeney who we're waiting on as one of the men in the top 10 at the moment. He's got past some traffic, a foot down to get the stop made.
Yeah, it's a really physical section of the circuit of the TT course as you're coming into Parliament Square. One of the hardest braking points of the course. You'll see Michael Dunlop actually using a lot of rear braking today. You can see his foot physically moving to get the bike stopped.
News from race control. Mikey Evans came off at Braddon Dip. Is reported as conscious and talking. He's being taken to Nobles for further assessment. So that's Mikey Evans off at Braddon Dip, conscious and talking, being taken to Nobles for further assessment.
Okay, well, he was one of the first on the road, wasn't he? He got away third from the starting area behind Mike Brown and Paul Jordan. So we'll obviously let you know if we hear anything else while we are still on the air. But in the meantime, those up towards the front of the pack now are climbing their way up across the mountain and the highest point of the course here at Halewood Rise. And Halewood's height's 1,385 feet. Then they'll start plunging back down the other side. I popped up onto the roof of the tower just before we came back on the air after the break, and it's a lot breezier up there. So I can't imagine what it's like at Windy Corner up on the top of the mountain at the moment, because there's a strong breeze down here on the Glen Crutchery Road.
Dunlop, that is 2.8 seconds inside his lap record pace at the bungalow. He's there in 14 minutes 49.2. The lap record split is a 52.1. So yeah, just over 2.8 seconds inside that pace. But we'll just see how this wind affects them up over the mountain.
Yeah, this is where that wind is going to affect them the most. That section of the course where there's it's very open up there. There's no trees and buildings and things to shelter the guys from the wind. And these being smaller bikes with a lot less power, it really affects them a massive amount. So up some of them big hills, if you've got a headwind, there'll be it can be the difference between 4, 5 and 6 miles an hour on a lot of these bikes. So yeah, hopefully we see him still on lap record pace. But the wind up there is the same for everyone, so it'll be affecting all the guys just as much as each other.
Absolutely. So the best of the rest of the Nun patterns is Paul Jordan on the Jackson Racing, powered by Prosper 2 Aprilia. He's holding on to that third place at the moment. He's only 1.2 seconds behind Brown as well. Yeah, he's doing really well against the pattern.
That's looks like some really close races through the pack, isn't there? I mean, Jamie Coward's only a second and a half behind Hickman. You've got David Johnson and Rob Hodgson within a second and a half of each other on in the standings. So there's some serious battles all the way through.
Mike Brown is the first rider to make it to Cronknamona. Paul Jordan is not too far behind him. It's Michael Dunlop we are waiting for, the race leader, to get there. So Brown and Jordan are through Cronknamona on their way to us here for their only flying run down Glen Crutchery Road on these sport bikes. They will race past us here out onto their second and final lap. They'll be with us in probably about 30 seconds or so as Dunlop does now arrive. The lead has gone out to 16.9. It's practically 17 seconds Dunlop leads Brown by. Paul Jordan is sticking with Brown though on the leaderboard, at least 1.3 seconds only between Jordan's Aprilia and Brown's Patton.
If you're sitting in the main grandstand, you can see the red blobs at the top of the big screen. They simulate the old lights we used to have on the old timing system. Well, I say timing system, the manual timing system we used to have. Now that's to signal when the riders have gone through Cronknamona and they now come flying back past the grandstand here, as Chris has said already. So that was Mike Brown going through, the first to start the second lap. Second on the road is Paul Jordan, and the timing screen will update now to see where they are in terms of position. Well, they're very close in terms of position. Paul Jordan, who's second on the road, is only 1/10 of a second in terms of time ahead of Mike Brown.
We're about to get Michael Dunlop come flying past. 123.056 is the lap record. Here he comes. 123.637, a new lap record for Michael Dunlop in the sports bike class on the pattern. 18 minutes, 18.603, 123.637.
Wow, that's some serious pace, isn't it? And he just keeps getting faster and faster and faster on in this small class. It's really, really impressive. There's just no stopping Michael Dunlop, is there?
No, there's not. What's that? 2.5 miles an hour quicker than the previous record. Absolutely incredible. We believe they're investing up to £90,000 in that pattern. They've got all sorts of new aerodynamics on the bike as well for 2026, and goodness me, it is really, really paying off now, isn't it? We will keep an eye on that Paul Jordan Mike Brown scrap, though, because there was just 1/10 of a second. You couldn't even imagine it, could you? 1/10 of a second in the sport bike class, around 37 3/4 miles. That is going to go right down to the checkered flag as the next few runners come through. 5 have gone by so far, with Jamie Coward going through just a few moments ago. David Johnson, Baz Ferber. We'll see what Baz Ferber can do as well. He was a bit of a dark horse in the opinion of Chris Kinley just before we got underway. I think this is going to be very, very tight between several of the riders.
In terms of the leaderboard, then Dunlop leads at the end of lap 1 by 17.5 seconds from Paul Jordan. Then it's only 1/10 of a second now between Brown and Jordan. Brown closing right in on Paul Jordan. 1/10 of a second only. They'll have Dunlop will be catching them on the road, you would think, being so far clear. Peter Hickman has gone through as well. He continues to hold on to that 4th place despite whatever issues he had. He's 16.3 seconds down on Brown. He is 4.3 seconds up on Jamie Coward, who holds 5th place. 6th for Joe Yeardsley, who's just gone through. 4.3 seconds down on Jamie Coward. We wait on Dominic Herbertson at Crompnemona, is holding on to 7th, and Michael de Koppel, who is holding on to 8th.
Michael Dunlop is able to catch Paul Jordan and Mike Brown on the road. It will potentially be a slight advantage for Paul because he'll catch Paul first, and he might be able to drag him along and just pull him a little bit further away from Mike Brown in the times. However, Paul set off 40 seconds before Michael Dunlop, and currently the difference is 17 seconds, so I don't think it's going to happen in a 2-lap race. If we had a bit longer, that might happen, but with 2 laps to run and only half a lap, 3/4 of a lap left, it's probably not likely to happen.
Yeah, it's crucial though, isn't it, Mike? Because they're going to have to lose as little time as they possibly can as well with Dunlop in the vicinity. As you say, can they tag on to the back of him? But of course they did swap round, didn't they? Because Brown was ahead of Paul Jordan when they came through Crompnemona, and Paul obviously had a stronger final sector to move 1/10 ahead.
Yeah, and when the times are as tight as that, one tiny little mistake, one missed gear, one just missed apex, you outbrake yourself a tiny little bit into one area of the course, and that's the difference. That'll mean Mike Brown can just jump in front of Paul if he makes one of them little mistakes. So they'll both be concentrating. I'm sure they've got pit boards around the TT course to tell them what's going on, but they'll be doing everything they can to get round as safely as possible.
All 4 of our front end have clear road in front of them. Mike Brown continues to be first on the road with Paul Jordan literally those 10 seconds behind him because they're practically together on the leaderboard. Michael Dunlop then has clear road in front of him, and we've just seen Peter Hickman going down through Crosby. He has clear road in front of him. In terms of those lap times, it was on the opening lap 121.682 for Mike Brown, 121.695 for Paul Jordan. The new lap record for Michael Dunlop, 123.637. Jamie Coward, 119.4. Davo Johnson, 116.1. 117.7 for Barry Ferber.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on Reece Stevenson as well to see how he gets on his first ever racing lap here at the Isle of Man. He'll be coming through Crompnemona very shortly. Chris Kinley with the latest.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've lost number 15, Pierre Hughes, beyond the French rider. Is going to be out of this sport bike race. He climbs off the bike, leans it against the wall, and goes over to his team to have a very animated conversation in French, which I won't even try and get near. So 15, a retirement in the pitch rider, perfectly okay.
That is a shame for the Peter Hickman Performance Team rider, Pierre-Yves Bihan, who has gone very, very well. I think he may have had a podium at the Northwest 200 in this class previous. Michael Dunlop then does arrive at Glen Helen now. Oh my word, this is going to be monstrous. It's Glen Helen to Glen Helen is 124.719 miles per hour. Wow, that has absolutely obliterated the sector record between here and Glen Helen that was 4 minutes 33.5. He's just done it in 4 minutes 30.1.
Yeah, we thought we were going to see something special for Michael Dunlop today, didn't we? And if he continues this pace, it doesn't look like anyone's going to have anything to any chance of holding a candle to that man today.
The only thing on this is that he's got that 22.6 seconds now. If he gets aboard, we know in the previous race he slowed down once he got boards. He realised it was won.
Yeah, he doesn't need to screw the nut on the rest of this lap, does he? But personally, I'd like to see him. Personally,
I think we all would.
Let's see
what that is capable of.
Yeah, let's
Absolutely.
see a new lap record.
That is the case. So at the grandstand here, then at the end of the lap, let's just get a better idea on the standings as we go down the order, because the front end are at such a pace. They're sort of leaving the rest behind a little bit. Michael Dunlop led by 17.5 seconds here. It's 22.6 out at Glen Helen. Hickman's got traffic here, has he, Mike?
He has, and I think I might have spotted what was wrong with Hickman's bike. These bikes have brake lever guards on the handlebars, and it looked like there was actually on the clutch side of Peter Hickman's bike, it looked like the clutch lever guard has just come slightly loose and was hanging down a little bit. So that might have been what he was faffing with and trying to sort earlier on. Not a huge problem, but just one of them things that can distract you. And if it stops you holding onto the handlebars the way you want to, it can be a little bit annoying. So that might be what he was messing around with a lap ago. But it doesn't look like he's slowing him down. He really doesn't need to slow him down, because if he slows down too much, Jamie Coward's on his tail, only 4.5 seconds behind him. So he'll be trying to keep that to the back of his mind, I think.
Yeah, our top six remain Dunlop, Jordan, Brown, then Hickman, then Jamie Coward, then Joe Yeardsley, who's having a fantastic ride in 6th. 7th is Dominic Herbertson, 8th is Michael de Koppel, going really well. 9th for Barry Ferber, 10th for Michael Sweeney. Alan Ventnor is just outside the top 10 in 11th. Stefano Bonetti is 12th. Andrea Maiola, 13th. Michael Russell, with 55 on the bike, is running in 14th place in the race at the end of lap 1. Then 15th for Davo Johnson, 16th for Joey Thompson, 17th for Rob Hodson, 18th for Jonathan Perry, Toby Shannon 19th, and rounding out the top 20 is Tom Whedon.
Yeah, quick shout out as well for Reece Stevenson, who just in the last 30 or 40 seconds has completed his first ever racing lap here on the Isle of Man in a very respectable 113.0. So well done, Reece Stevenson, as he moves now into his second and final lap of this sport bike, first ever sport bike with the new branding on the Class TT. A few people pulling some wheelies out there, some spectacular replays are coming in at the moment, Boothie.
I think that was Michael Dunlop pulling the big wheelies on the pattern, so that might have answered our question about whether or not he's trying to get a lap record. Listen, if he's got a 25 or 22 second lead, he doesn't need to push, like we said. He just needs to go out there and enjoying it. And it looks like he's enjoying it, sitting that pattern on the back wheel and having a whale of a time. Fair play to him.
Yeah, it's looking as smooth as ever, isn't he? Sorry, Chris.
Balaf to Balaf for Michael Dunlop. He's still at that 124.6, 124.7 pace. This is sensational.
And if you can do that, doing wheelies all the way around the course, it's almost taking the mickey a little bit, isn't it?
It is indeed. We see then Mike Brown making his way up towards the northern part of the course. We can still see there is that almost perfect 10-second gap, because they are still only separated, well, it'll be 9 seconds now, because they're 1.1 seconds between Mike Brown and Paul Jordan. Brown holding on to that second place by just 1.1 second over Paul Jordan, and that is nothing, is it? It's a missed braking point, it's a missed gear change, it's the simplest of things, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely nothing, you know. And if one of the bikes has got a bit of an advantage in one area, or one of the riders is a little bit more comfortable with one section of the track, that can soon disappear. 1.1 seconds can be surmounted reasonably easy. Well, not easily, nothing's easier on the TT course, but can be surmounted reasonably quickly on the TT course.
Dunlop then is through Sulby. He's halfway round this lap, halfway round the 37 3/4 miles. He's into the second part of the lap, the final half of a run back to here at the TT Grandstand. He's already won once today. Is he going to do the double in a day at the TT? As we see 3 riders together coming through, Kurt Michael as well. Oh, right up the front of those, I think might be Rob Hodson on the SMT pattern. I think he was the front of that gaggle.
He certainly was, and just behind him was Dominic Herbertson. So Rob Hodgson, Dom Herbertson and one other rider was right behind them. Shout out also to David Johnson. He didn't even know he was going to be racing in this class until Tuesday of practice week. So he's had a very solid start, to put it mildly. But in these critical battles, not least Brown versus Jordan for second place, as we said, it was only 1.1 seconds last time through, and that was Balaf Bridge. When they get up to the end of the straight at Sulby, through Sulby Bridge. That is a popular place for pit boards, so that'll be a crucial moment for those two to know how they are faring. Of course, the next timing point will be Ramsey Hairpin. Down there at Ramsey Hairpin now is Mike Brown. You can hear him just tipping into there and accelerating out on the pattern.
He's through Parliament Square, heading along Albert Terrace, underneath the bridge by the bus station, then up into Mayhill, Crookshanks, and on to Waterworks from there, and we'll get the next checkpoint. We also get an idea of how far behind on the road. Here comes Paul Jordan now. Paul Jordan making his way on that same run out through Albert Terrace and up to the bottom of Mayhill. Then we'll have to wait for not too long before Michael Dunlop comes into view as we move up towards the hairpin. We've got Mike Brown, we've got Paul Jordan through. We're waiting next on Dunlop, who is through Crookshanks. He'll be there with us in no time at all. Get an idea on this latest split. It's the fastest split of the race. 3:25.0. Wow, it's going to be quicker again. He's going to be slap bang on that 1:24.7 pace. He's just continuing at it, which would be incredible to add over. Well, he would be adding 1.5 miles per hour to the record that came into this year.
Wow, that's incredible. And you know, I know he was pulling a few wheelies earlier on in the lap, but you can see he's trying. We just saw him looking really neat and tidy, but fast into Ramsey Hairpin there, and he's extending that lead, isn't he? 27 second lead at. After not even 2 laps. It's
and he's broken the sector record again. Belaf to Ramsey. He set it on the first lap. He's just broken it again on the second. Getting quicker.
Yeah, he's not messing around, is he? He's like I say, he came into this race as the favourite, but he's doing something even more special than I think anyone was really expecting him to. I think we knew he was going to be fast, but that is you don't usually break lap records by quite as much, do you?
No, Peter Hickman seems to have resolved whatever the issue is. He's not looking down on the bike so much this time coming into Ramsey.
Yeah, I was just. It looks like whatever it is either put it to the back of his mind or he's fixed it. But yeah, we did see again that clutch lever guard is swinging around in the breeze, so that'll want tightening up. I don't suppose he's going to stop and tighten it up in the middle of a TT race. But when he gets in, the team will be looking at getting that tightened up for next year if they're going to come back on a bike like that.
It was either a little bit loose then, or we struck something, or something has struck it while out on the course. It'll be very interesting to hear what he's got to say to Beth or to Kinners, whoever grabs him first when he gets back. But Hickman, we are talking about. Oh, we've just seen an absolutely spectacular replay of Mike Brown. Absolutely airborne, spectacular Isle of Man TT action. If you're here in the grandstand, you'll see that on the big screen in a moment. That's Milltown, isn't it? That was incredible.
And Balacry before that, both of them completely airborne, both wheels off the ground. Through Ramsey Hairpin then on to the mountain mile for Michael Dunlop on this second and final lap. He leads by 27.7 seconds at Ramsey on the second lap from Mike Brown, who is still only those 2 seconds ahead of Paul Jordan. Peter Hickman is then 19.4 seconds down on Jordan in fourth. Jamie Coward 12 seconds down on Hickman in fifth. Then Joe Yeardsley continues to be having a great run. He's the latest man through Ramsey, holding on to sixth place. We've got 1 or 2 others to fill in. Barry Ferber and David Johnson are both also on the climb of the mountain.
Yeah, I think Joey Yeardsley is going to be thrilled with a top 6 position at the TT, isn't he? It's great to see him.
The two TH racing bikes circulating absolutely line astern together coming into Ramsey. Alan Ventnor starting at 20 has got ahead of Joey Thompson, his teammate, 19. The two of them absolutely, if there was a silhouette, you would think there was only one bike there that close.
Yeah, it's great to see, isn't it? Of course, we set off 10-second intervals at the TT, but there's a lot of time you do spend on the circuit with other riders, and it's really special racing around here, so close. Almost as if you're on a short circuit sometimes. Absolutely amazing to see, and particularly on these bikes because they're a little bit lighter. They're a little bit easier to ride. They handle the bumps better. They're not trying to rip your arms out. So yeah, you can really enjoy riding one of these bikes.
A few close battles out there on this second and final lap. Just 4.3 seconds between Dominic Herbertson and Baz Ferber for 7th and 8th places. 2.2 seconds is all it is between Stefano Benetti and Davo Johnson, so we'll see what they can do. But of course it's the scrap for second that we really need to keep an eye on, and Paul Jordan has just taken half a second out of Mike Brown. He's gone back down from 2 seconds to 1.5 at the bungalow, so the scrap for second and those podium positions is going to go right down to the checkered flag. We thought Mike Brown might be edging away. Paul Jordan, having seen the latest pick signal, has responded. 1.5 between the two, fighting for second.
He'll have to wring that bike's neck all the way over the mountain, won't he, to just drag that second and a half back. And if he can, that'll be a fantastic result for Paul Jordan. Second place in a sport bike TT. But of course, Mike Brown, he doesn't mess about, does he? So he'll be giving it the berries and doing what he can to maintain that P2.
Yeah, Mike Brown on the pattern, Paul Jordan, of course, on the beautiful looking and beautiful sounding Aprilia 660, and incidentally will be turning 35 here on Sunday. So is it going to be an early birthday podium for him?
Mike Brown is right on the old lap record coming into this year. That's how impressive this lap is. He's bungalow to bungalow is 123.065. The lap record coming into this race was 123.056. So he's right on that pace that Michael Dunlop had last year.
Can you imagine that, coming to the TT, riding at lap record pace and still finishing 28 seconds behind Michael Dunlop? Unbelievable.
Yeah, a bit dejecting, isn't it? Let's be honest, for everybody else. But nice for Michael Dunlop, of course. It's incredible what they've done there.
The lead is then out, as Mike Booth says, to 28.5 seconds at the bungalow. And it's the battle between Brown and Paul Jordan that we're really watching, as well as this lap for Michael Dunlop. 1.5 seconds between Brown and Jordan at the bungalow. Peter Hickman continues to hold on to that fourth place despite his issues. 24 seconds down on Jordan, but 12 seconds ahead of Jamie Coward on the Malenko by Paget's pattern. We're waiting then on Joe Yearsley to arrive next at the start number 12, but Mike Brown is already at Cronknamona on second lap, heading for the checkered flag, Greg.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely pivotal now. I wonder what's going through their minds at this point. All they can do is ride as inch perfect as possible. I know it's easy for me to say, stood up here on the second floor of the tower, but all they can do is ride as cleanly as possible. Remember, this is a time trial. It's not a race. They don't know how their opponent is faring, even though they're just, 8-10 seconds apart on the road. So we'll keep a very close eye on the timing screen. It's 1.6 now. Mike Brown, 1.6 ahead of Paul Jordan. It is literally going to come down to the final and shortest sector on the course here, but we're waiting in the meantime for Michael Dunlop with a lead now, would you believe this, of almost half a minute, 29.3 seconds. First of all, though, Mike Brown is coming up out of Governors and down the Glen Crutchfield Road. So Mike Brown will cross the line first. We'll have to see what happens in the fight for second with Paul Jordan. There goes Mike Brown. His pattern is past our window.
It's going to be a podium, but which position in the podium as Michael Dunlop is about to ride? Nearly over the pavement there as he exited Governor's Dip onto Glen Crutchfield Road. Here he comes. What is this lap going to be? It's going to be, here he is, 36 up, and it's 124.082 for Michael Dunlop.
And in the scrap for second, Mike Brown is just 0.6 of a second ahead of Paul Jordan. That's all it was. 0.6. Incredible final lap for Paul Jordan, Mike, but he didn't quite get there, did he?
Yeah, not quite enough. He's obviously given it all he's had, but yeah, to lose a second place by just over half a second, that must be that's pretty gut wrenching, isn't it? But fair play to Mike Brown. He rode a hell of a race there for a P2.
I was looking at the race average, 124.082. The lap average for that second lap, 124.530. Down to Chris Kinley.
Yeah, incredible. And it's another win for Michael Dunlop on the number 6 bike. Gives the pattern a good tap on the tank. And, well, the two boys in second and third, they are good friends, Paul Jordan and, of course, Mike Brown. And, of course, that's both have their third podiums here now at the Isle of Man TT. But what a lap from Michael Dunlop. What was the quickest lap again, Boydie? 124.530?
Yep, that's right.
Wow, 124.530. We'll get in now. He's got off the SC Project pattern and just tell him all about this. And you'll know the facts. Michael Dunlop, TT winner again, 124.530 as well. Wow, well done, young man.
I don't think it was what I rolled off in the last lap too, so yeah, thanks to all the boys. I would just like to thank Stefano, who obviously it's from the pattern factory. He gives the bike over every year, but Lorenzo and Andrea are just freaking great people. They just build me a great motorbike every time, and I get to ride it.
Talk us through it. How was it then? Did you get good boards? Did you know what was happening? Who was where?
No, it's all a bit weird. It was all a bit strange, to be honest with you. I got bored here, but then I lost in the first lap. There was an accident just in the first 2 turns in and sort of lost me a bit. Like, I don't really know where I'm at, because it takes me right to go back to Craig to know or to Hanley's to sort of know where we're at, sort of area. So, but yeah, no, then I just bed into it, and then I see my gap pulling up, and I just calmed down a wee bit. And the main thing was to get the wee bike home. Just for the Patton boys, it's the bike's been good to me, and so's the lads, so is the 2 mechanics. So yeah, really excited about that.
Got the Monster Energy hat to put on as well. How is the bike and what are conditions up on the mountain like? We've obviously got the senior TT coming up in a few moments.
Yeah, I was quite surprised at that time, to be honest with you, because it was windy. So it was very windy up the top, so I didn't think we weren't pulling the gear that we probably should have. But yeah, no, happy enough. The bike's running mint, and as I said, it was a lot windier than I thought it was.
124.530, 13 seconds under the old lap record.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I felt like there was a lot more in me, and I felt like I could have rid a lot harder. And on the same board in the last lap, I had a good gap and just calmed the jets a little bit. So obviously the bike's singing on nicely.
Michael, well done from everybody. Well done. Good show.
Cheers, boss. Thank you
very much to Michael. And where is he? He's over here somewhere. Well, Mike Brown, let's have a little chat. You and your good mate Paul Jordan going at it hammer and tongue. Not much between yous.
No, very little going by the pit boards. Partly guessed it was Paul, to be honest, so I was kind of smirking away. I said we have to give it everything here to try and do something. So no, I'm just glad to get a podium for the whole team and everyone involved in it. There's a lot of people involved with this bike and with the colours and everything, so it's nice to pay him with a podium.
Do you know what your fastest lap was?
No.
1:23.273.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right,
yeah. Just need another little bit.
Another little bit. Obviously, they're going to move to the sport bikes next year. That's going to be the new thing, isn't it? What do you think about that? Because you've had podiums in the Super Twin before, 2, but now you've got 3.
Yeah. No, look, whatever's there, we'll race. Makes no difference to me.
Talk about the pit board. You knew it was going to be Paul. Are you expecting Peter Hickman to appear at one point as well?
It did cross my mind a little bit at the start of the race, but no, me and Paul have talked about this twin race for a while, and I'm glad the bit we talked about worked out. So 2 of us on the podium is quite cool.
Good to see you back in here again, because it's been a couple of years, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a bit unlucky with injury last year and a few little bits didn't go to plan, but no, glad to be back in here.
Well done, Mike.
Cheers, thank you.
And we'll grab a quick word now to Paul Jordan. He gets himself 3rd place, and we'll just jump in with the Jackson Racing team. And PJ, just a quick word on that. You and your good mate knocking lumps out of each other, literally out there.
I definitely, as I was saying there, I was getting boards everywhere, just P2 plus 0, P3 plus 0. I was like, bloody hell, I was like, give me a breaker. I was riding the wheels clean off the thing, so I think I came across, the last board was like 1.6 or something, and I just said, right, give it everything you have. Made a slight mistake going into the signpost corner, but I'm sure it wouldn't have. It probably made it a little bit closer, but apart from that, yeah, I'm really happy for the guys. They deserve this after all the work they put in.
123.185 quickest lap.
Yeah, well, that's very good. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Happy with that as well. And obviously conditions that the Michael said a bit windy up there for the Milwaukee Senior TT.
Yeah, it was a bit windy, but sure, it is what it is for everybody else. So let's just get out and enjoy the last one.
Well done. Thanks, Paul, for your time.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Cheers. Let's hear from Peter Hickman with Beth.
Yeah, just standing here, Peter, looking at your machine there. We saw you looking down quite a lot. What was going on?
Yeah, there's a bit of a problem with the fuel cap, unfortunately. Whenever I hit the brakes, I got absolutely covered in fuel. I wasn't entirely sure exactly what was going on, but I kept checking just to see where it was, because I wasn't sure if it was just a fuel cap that was loose itself, but it looks like a seal or something must have gone from underneath, because even holding it, when I held it down myself, it still chucked fuel out everywhere. So couldn't see a lot on the first lap, but to be honest, I don't think it have made any difference to the podium. The boys at the front are just running mega fast lap times, and I was pretty much on my limit anyway. So we'll have to go back to the drawing board and see what we can figure out for tomorrow.
4th place, though, given that, is absolutely phenomenal, and you must have been sort of weighting it up in your mind about whether or not to carry on, I guess.
Yeah, on the first lap there was so much fuel that I was a little bit like that, but I've actually run a race, not here, but at the Ulster Grand Prix before, where the fuel cap actually came out and came off. And I know that once the fuel load does go down, less fuel obviously comes up to the top. So I figured after lap 1 I shouldn't be too bad. So I was a bit slower just to try and not chuck so much fuel everywhere all over myself. like really gentle on the brakes, really gentle when I was coming off the throttle, just to try and stop it from splashing forwards, basically. And by the end of the first lap, we were then all right. So I managed to like have a crack on the last lap a little bit, but yeah, again, not fast enough for the front three.
Peter Hickman, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Beth. So, as we continue to run down then, we know that Michael Dunlop has won the Carole Nash Sportbike TT Race 1 by 28.775 seconds with that last lap. A new lap record, 124.530. Second for Mike Brown, just behind him, and he's just held off Paul Jordan by those 6/10 of a second. Poor for Peter Hickman, who Beth has just spoken to, 27.6 seconds down on Jordan. Fifth for Jamie Coward on the Malenko by Paget's Patton, 14 seconds behind Hickman, and Beth is now with him.
Jamie Coward, how was that for you out there?
Really nice, to be fair. It was a bit of a lonely ride, to say, but unfortunately I'd encountered Mike Evans' crash on the first lap, so I had to, when I came through, there were quite a lot of marshals and stuff around, and I had to slam on and slow right down to walking pace essentially, so I lost a bit of time there, but yeah, it was really nice. Just like I said, just gritted my teeth a little bit, up to 121 mile an hour laps, so with a bike now, so it's completely different to what I've ridden in the past, so we're just slowly getting there with it, so hopefully we're going to get to go tomorrow again, so we're going to try and make a few more changes and then see if we can be a bit further up the leaderboard.
And so did you have a race plan then?
Because it's a 2-lap race, I just wanted to get going and just get your head down and arse up and just go as far hard as you can, to be fair, for 2 laps. And unfortunately, like I said, I encountered that on Mikey at the beginning, and then Michael came past me well early in the lap, which I was really surprised by, and he completely woke me up a little bit, should we say, and then we managed to get going a bit better, should we say, after that. But yeah, there's a few little changes we can make with the bike, and then we'll try again tomorrow if we get to go.
Great position to finish in, though, Jamie Coward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Beth. Great for Jamie Coward to start his relationship with the Malenko by Paget's team. It was the first time he's ridden for them today in a full race at the TT, and he claims a top 5. The final lap times, lap 2, of course, we know Michael Dunlop's lap, 18 minutes 10.725, 124.530 miles per hour, 13 seconds inside of his own lap record held from last year. Mike Brown on the second lap, 123.273. Paul Jordan, 123.185. Both of those laps inside of the lap record that held coming into this race, until Michael Dunlop destroyed it on both lap 1 and lap 2. But that's how impressive those laps were by Brown and Jordan. Peter Hickman's final lap, 121.952 despite the issues. Jamie Coward, who we've just spoken to, 120.902. And then in 6th place, a best ever TT result for Joe Yeardsley. He'd previously finished 8th twice. Now he is a top 6 finisher at the TT, Mike Booth.
Yeah, that's a big step. A top 6 at the TT is really impressive, and Joe's just got Joe's just been showing some great pace all week, and it's fantastic to see him up in that top 6. That'll be one that he can be really proud of.
The whole team will be able to celebrate that one, that's for sure. That's the Flitwick Motorcycles team, of course, the bike that Jeremy Williams was riding at the Northwest 200 to such success. So we think Mark Parrott may be about to finish at some point shortly. Of course, his 100th start, it's not his 100th finish, but nonetheless fantastic if he can get the finish here at the TT in this sport bike class. From 7th place, Dominic Herbertson finished 10.9 seconds down on Yeardsley on the Triumph. Barry Ferber, who always goes so well in this class in the Yamaha. Let's just see, Greg, can we take Mark Parrott over the line? We think he's the next bike to come.
Well, the checkered flag is waving, and over the line he will go. As we said before, that was him, just the 6th rider in 105 years of running of the Isle of Man TT since it started in 1907 to make it 100 starts, and he is over the line. He will be absolutely made up with that, won't he, to have taken the checkered flag and come back in and receive the plaudits from family and friends. So well done indeed, Mark Parrott.
Indeed, fantastic for Mark. And a great celebration, long overdue, I think, there, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard work getting yourself to one Isle of Man TT, starting one race round here. So to have come back year after year after year, kept racing, and he's a respectable rider around this course. He's not slow, isn't Mark. So to have done that all them years and get 100 starts, fair play. They'll definitely be going for a pint tonight, I think.
Indeed. 8th place for Barry Ferber, the Bishop's Castle rider on the DC motorcycles of Newton Yamaha R7. A rider, they've done so much of the development on that R7 over the last few years, haven't they? That DC motorcycles team, that is a superb result as well.
Yeah, great to see. And a lot of these bikes, because it's a new class and the rules have changed a lot over the years. The development's really important. They're always trying to think of ways that they can make the most of the rules to kind of get the best performance out of these bikes. So all that work's paid off.
Michael de Koppel on the Indy Racing Aprilia matches his best result. He's finished 9th twice coming into this TT. He's now finished 9th 3 times on the little Aprilia. Fantastic for him. Michael Sweeney rounds out the top 10 on another Aprilia. Then just outside the top 10, frustrating for Alan Ventnor. He would want to try and get that Kawasaki, but it's aging technology now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And he'll be pleased to get a finish. He might not be the top 10. It might not be where he wants to be, but it's a respectable finish. And like you said, it's an aging bike. And if you want to be competitive in this class, perhaps it's looking at these timesheets. It looks to be an Aprilia or a pattern that you need to be on, doesn't it?
Finishing in a fine 24th place. We'll recap the rest of the leaderboard in a moment. Is our star newcomer, Rhys Stevenson, and he's with Beth.
He certainly is, and he came in with a big smile on your face there, Rhys. Talk us through that for you.
Honestly, it's that's the best feeling on the planet, quite literally. Better than my first laps, better than anything. To say I've actually finished a race is unbelievable, so pretty happy with that.
And not too shabby a result either as well. I mean, 24th, brilliant.
That's not bad, is it? That's at the beginning of this couple of weeks, I was hoping to kind of just finish in last place, but to say I'm up there is, I'm over the moon.
Oh, well, we're so thrilled for you. Definitely be back.
Cool. Absolutely.
Rhys Stevenson, thank you so much. So that's one of our newcomers to Mark Parrott. What a reception you got when you came in just then.
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. That's what you expect at TT, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant. All the lads have stuck with me for years now, and I just didn't think we were going to get it today. Get up on the grid, hour delay. Unbelievable. Only the Isle of Man.
How emotional was that out there for you?
It was just another race, but it's just going off the line was that was it. We started, and you never count the race till he takes his hand off your shoulder. So as soon as I went off down the road, it was like, thank God, but we've got to get the race finished.
And I know when you were talking to Chris a little bit earlier, we're like, yeah, no, I think that's going to be it. Really?
Yes, yeah. I've had 30 years of road racing now, and I'm getting too old. My knee's killing me. They said if I pack up racing, they'll give me a knee replacement. So, it's going to be a hard one in the next race. Hopefully I'll get all 4 laps done, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's a milestone, and I'm really glad we got there.
And tell you what, you are full of smiles, and John McGuinness is just standing here. Well, we're just saying congratulations to Mark there, because it's quite an achievement.
Unbelievable, yeah. 100 starts, incredible. What a milestone for this man. We've done a lot of racing together over the years, and it's good to see you do it after last year's disaster with the bird. But no, congratulations, mate. It's your moment.
Cheers.
Enjoy.
Cheers, thanks, John.
Mark Parrott, go and enjoy. You've got so many people going up here saying congratulations. You had the round of applause when you rode in here. Yeah, what a moment.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Sounded close to tears, didn't he, there, especially when John McGuinness came up to him. Thank you very much indeed, Beth, and lovely to hear as well from Rhys Stevenson. Rhys Stevenson has finished ahead of 14 other riders, 14 other finishers he is ahead of on his debut here. He hadn't even been to the Isle of Man until he turned up earlier on this year to suss out the place, and of course we had all the delays with the rain, didn't we, through the week towards the end of last week. So absolutely fantastic for Rhys Stevenson. He's been riding bikes, started in the back garden when he was only 5 years old, used to race on the beach at Mablethorpe, and now at 20 years of age, saying to Beth there, I will definitely be coming back to the Isle of Man TT. Tremendous stuff for him. Chris Kinley then with the podium.
Thank you very much, Greg. It is, of course, the podium for the Carole Nash Sportbike TT race number 1. And to present the trophies up on the podium from Carole Nash, he's an associate director of the company, Dan Neild. Off you go, buddy. Up you go. Enjoy your moment up on the podium there, sir. Thank you very much to all the team at Carole Nash for supporting the Isle of Man TT. Ladies and gentlemen, it is his third TT podium riding for the Jackson Racing Aprilia team, the Aprilia RS 660 of number 2, Paul Jordan. Third time up those stairs for Paul. Sure many more to come. Paul gets himself onto the third spot. In second position, riding the Melbray Laycock Racing Machine, the Pattern S1R 650, his third TT podium, number 1, Mike Brown. Mike makes his way up onto that podium, and we'll get the award from Dan. And ladies and gentlemen, 36 times the TT winner now, and a new lap record with 124.530. Riding by the Pattern by MD Racing Team, the Pattern S1R 650 of number 6, Michael Dunlop. Michael makes his way up onto the top step for the 36th time, and will be receiving any moment now. Gets the laurel wreath over his neck and presented with the old lightweight TT trophy. The old winner, Michael Dunlop. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are able, please be upstanding for the British National Anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, your top 3 in the Carole Nash Sportbike TT race. Number 1, number 2, Paul Jordan. Number 1, Mike Brown. And, of course, your race winner, Michael Dunlop. And also, thank you very much to Dan and the team from Carole Nash. The trophy will be now taken away. And, of course, we do have a bit more action to come on the Isle of Man TT 2026 with the Milwaukee Senior TT coming up very, very shortly. So I don't think the riders will be popping any champagne. All we have, a couple of machines. And they're just across the line there. And, of course, that will be Paul Jordan just opened up the champagne. So, boys, we'll hand up to you, and we'll get ready for Milwaukee Senior TT.
Indeed, we will. The big race of the meeting is to come, but Michael Dunlop's already done the double on the day. What chance, Greg? A hat-trick.
Well, it's never happened before, has it? We have never had the scenario when somebody could have taken 3 in a day, generally speaking, of course, with the reschedule of the events. But who knows? I think it's unlikely, Chris, because Dean Harrison's on such good form, but you just never know. It has never happened before, one rider winning 3 races on a single day.
Yeah, Michael, of course, Mike Booth was very downbeat about the Honda, the big bike in the senior, but he'll now be on the crest of a wave after 2 wins today.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's going to go into the final race, isn't he? With a lot of confidence off the back of 2 smaller bike wins. But you know, we've seen dominance from Dean Harrison on the big bike so far this week, haven't we? So you'd have to say it's Dean's race to lose. But if anything goes wrong, Michael Dunlop's definitely going to be there to snatch up the win, and you know, let's just see what happens. It's going to be 4 long laps around the TT course later on for those big superbikes. So yeah, anything can happen.
We'll look forward to all of that very, very soon, but we're still wrapping this Carole Nash Sportbike TT Race 1. We've got down through the top 10. Alan Ventnor, we'd said, had finished 11th. Dave O'Johnson has managed to get a 12th place finish. That late entry's paid off, and you noticed, Greg Haynes, that he really went well on the second lap.
He certainly did, because Dave O'Johnson was 15th going into that second and final lap, so he managed to grab 3 positions on the last tour there. So I think the Australian, who was a late entry into this category on only Tuesday of practice week, will be delighted. And he just edged out Stefano Bonetti, incidentally, by just a few, what was the gap? Half a second it was. Dave Johnson was half a second ahead of Stefano Bonetti in 12th and 13th positions. Bonetti, of course, if you remember, was very nearly top newcomer on his debut here when he finished just 1 position behind Guy Martin back in 2004. So David Johnson in 12th place from Stefano Bonetti. Andrea Maiola on his pattern was in 14th position, ahead of Joey Thompson on an Aprilia. And then it was Michael Russell from Jonathan Perry, Sean Anderson.
Result for Michael Russell is worth noting as well. So a start number of 55, he's finished 16th. Superb.
Yes, yeah, fantastic, isn't it? He'll be pleased with that as well. This is what's so great about it, isn't it? There's so many little subplots and stories all the way down through the field.
Same for the next rider as well. Jonathan Perry with a plate number of 42 finishes 17th. Superb. Then Sean Anderson in 18th. Toby Shan, newcomer, stepping up. Well, not a newcomer, but stepping up from the Manx Grand Prix. He gets himself a top 20 finish.
Yeah, quick shout out for Sean Anderson as well, of course, because he's on the CF Moto 675 SR, to give it its full name, Chris. So the Chinese manufacturer, times are changing in the world of bike racing at the moment, with the Chinese making their way to the fore. So great to see the Chinese manufacturer with Sean Anderson at the helm there in 18th position.
And they will slot in as 15th on the manufacturers list with fastest laps. BMW, of course, topped that with the Peter Hickman lap record. We work ourselves right the way down to KTM, who currently hold 14th place on the manufacturers list at 120.157 miles per hour by James Edmead. So CF Moto will slot in to 15th place of the fastest manufacturers at the TT with that lap of 116.687 for Sean.
And as sport bike goes on over the next few years and these regulations continue to evolve and new entrants come in, watch out for Kove as well, another one of those Chinese manufacturers. We've seen ZX Moto already winning plenty of races in World Supersport this year as well. So it's exciting. There's plenty of new manufacturers in the mix. And as we've said, there's been some very, very close time gaps here. Not so much for the win, of course, for the dominant Michael Dunlop, who, as he said down in Parc Fermé, was even taking it very easy on the final tour. But this bodes very well indeed for the future for this sport bike class. Very, very close times between all sorts of different manufacturers.
Just outside beyond that, we said Toby Shan's finished 19th. Great result for him. Reece Hardesty has finished in 20th. Rob Hodgson will possibly be disappointed. I don't know if he had issues. We wouldn't normally expect to see him down in 21st on the pattern. But one man who has no such concern, has just had his best ever TT result in 6th place, is Joe Yeardsley, and Beth has caught up with him.
I tell you what a phenomenal result. How do you put that into words?
No, I'm lost for words. I'd normally stand here and talk glass eye to sleep, to be honest, but I'm absolutely lost for words. It's been a bit of a struggle this week, an unfortunate thing in the race before, and you know, last year when I set up my own team to have my own super sport bike and my own big bike Honda, I didn't have a super twin, and I've been lucky to ride the flip big bikes in the classics for the last few years, and I know that he builds a good bike, and they only had one with Adam McLean, and he said he might be able to build one if we can get the money together to make it happen. So his sponsors have come on board and made it happen, and here we are. So yeah, I owe him the world, really. Thanks very much.
At what point during that race did you realise it was going quite well?
Yeah, I got a pit board at the Sulby Bridge, lap 1, I think it was P5, and I thought, God, I must be doing all right. And then I dropped back to 6th, and then I was reading my pit boards. I didn't know who it was, but I knew I must have been doing all right. And then, yeah, just kind of went as hard as I could, you know. It's still a few damp spots on the right-hander before the mountain mile. I wasn't very committed through there, losing a bit of time. But, you know, it's my fastest stand and start lap, fastest flying lap in them conditions. I'm over the moon with that. I'd never even seen the bike until last week, so, you know, I can't complain.
At that point, when you come over the finishing line, who is it you want to speak to first?
Everyone, really. It's just to thank them for getting me here. It's I'm overwhelmed of the support. This year we spent 60 grand on bikes to get here. We've got no spare engines. The money's running. What I'll do after this, I don't know. But I live and breathe to do with TT. It's the reason I started. And just thanks to everyone that's been a part of it to get me here.
We're so delighted for you, Joe Yeardsley. Well done.
Thank you.
And just speaking of pit boards, actually, I was talking to Gary Ryan a little bit earlier, and if anybody is out and about around the course and they can do some extra pit boards for Michael Dunlop during the senior, it would be very much appreciated.
Wow, there we go. You can help out the most decorated TT rider in history by giving him a pit board if you're out there for the senior TT. How about that, Greg?
No pressure there, then. No pressure there. Send us some pictures in if you've got your pit boards, but that'll be interesting to see if any extra boards do indeed go out there for Michael Dunlop. And just coming back to Rob Hodgson, you mentioned him just before we heard from Joe Yeardsley there, Chris. You're absolutely right. Something clearly went wrong for Rob on that final lap. He lost 25 seconds in comparison Hodgson with his first tour. So clearly an issue there for the pattern of Rob Hodgson, who loses 25 seconds or so on the second and final lap.
Yeah, we're used to Rob Hodgson on the SMT pattern being very, very at the front end of every field, everywhere he races, aren't we, Mike?
Yeah, he's fast on everything, Rob. So yeah, he'll be frustrated with that. But like we keep saying, that's the TT, and these things do happen.
James Chalk, good result for Chalky in 22nd place. Francesco Caringa finishes in 23rd. 24th, we've already mentioned, for Rhys Stevenson. 25th for another of the MGP graduates, Lewis Arrowsmith. Barry Burrell goes back from that detour all around the island this morning and not starting the Super Sport as a result. He finishes in 26th in Sportbike. 27th for Paul Cassidy. 28th for Ryan Garside. 29th for Wayne Bourget. 30th for Pete Murray, Mike.
Yeah, great to see Pete get back on the bike, because he had a crash in qualifying week at the 26th milestone, and you don't always walk away from a crash there, and I should know because it happened to me a few years ago. So great to see him back on the bike and getting a finish on the Aprilia.
Memories you didn't need, but well done.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me, Pete.
Sorry about that. 31st for Pochi Williams on the Kawasaki. 32nd for Sam Johnson. 33rd for Martin Morris. Masayuki Yamanaka finishes 34th in Sportbike. 35th for Mark Parrott on that 100th start. 36th for George Halliday. 37th for Anthony Stevens, and the final finisher in Carole Nash Sportbike TT Race 1 is Michael Garn on the Aprilia in 38th place, Greg.
Yeah, so 38 finishes then, as you say, getting round to the end of that second lap, a race that was shortened because of the issues with the weather, as I'm sure you will all know. If you've been here for the week, it's been pretty horrendous over the last 2 days. In particular, if you're listening from afar, we can tell you that the sun is very much shining here on the Glen Crutchery Road. There's a few scattered clouds. There's a lovely blue sky out to our right-hand side as we look across in the direction of Signpost Corner and the mountain, and I can say there's pretty much blue sky. A little bit more cloud cover as I look to the left-hand side out towards Bray Hill, but even so, the weather is good here, and that's far more than we expected earlier on in the week.
It is 8 of the last 10 Super Twins / Sportbike TTs that have gone to Michael Dunlop. It is 5 in a row. He won both races in 24, did the double, but run both in 25, and of course he's won Sportbike TT Race 1. Still hopes we will get Race 2 in if we get chance over the weekend.
Yeah, I think the plan is to try and do some racing at the weekend. The forecast isn't excellent, but we'll keep our fingers crossed for some more racing. Of course, if we do get the senior run this afternoon, we've still got a super stock race and another sport bike race to get done. So if we can do them tomorrow, that'd be great.
And in terms of podiums as well for Dunlop, he's up to 55 podiums now. He took that first one, if you remember, in 2009. Whoever would have imagined at that point that he could make it 55 by the time we got to 2026. It is absolutely phenomenal from Michael Dunlop, and when will it ever end? Amazing success for him.
And a quite sensational pair of laps. He took the lap record on the opening lap, his own lap record, destroyed it, then absolutely battered it on lap 2 on that flying lap, and he said he was easing off towards the end.
Yeah, he's done it in some style, hasn't he? That race was a true he's schooled the rest of the field, I think.
Keep up to date with Manx Radio's dedicated motorsport website, motorsport.manxradio.com, your one-stop shop for news, travel, road closures and racing schedules. You can also step into Manx Radio 1368's 60-year motorsport archive, including interviews with your favourite riders, race highlights from yesteryear, and our collection of motorsport videos and podcasts. motorsport.manxradio.com, the home for motorsport on the Isle of Man, from the best biking station in the world, Manx Radio 1368.